Hi guys. Today I have a very practical lesson for you. If I had $1 for every time I've heard somebody say that they can't draw a face, I would be a very rich lady. So I'm gonna help you guys overcome your aversion to drawing a face with a few very, very simple tricks that a lot of artists know that you might not know. You'll be amazed how much this helps. So what I'm gonna do today is not show you anything about how to draw any particular kind of face. I'm just gonna show you guys a generic, plain Jane measurements, super standard. And then once you know that, you can start to compare them to other different features that you wanna draw and work on drawing a self-portrait even. And that'll help you a lot. You gotta get the basics before you can branch off. So first thing I'm gonna do is draw sort of like an upside down egg shape for the face. Obviously, everybody has a different face shape. I'm not gonna try to get this right with just one line. You can see I'm using lots of restating lines. Okay. Make sure you can see this on the video. Okay, so if you have to pause this video and work on this for a few minutes, you're gonna wanna get it symmetrical mainly. I mean, obviously faces are not perfectly symmetrical, but if there's some big old lump sticking out of one side, you're not gonna be satisfied with your drawing. So try to get it symmetrical, okay? All right, once you've got that upside down egg shape, you're gonna wanna super lightly draw a line down the middle and divide it in half, and then you're going to want to divide in half this way too, kind of like putting a target across the middle, really lightly. Okay, now believe it or not, this line is where the eyes are going to go. One mistake that a lot of people make drawing a face is they stick the eyes way up here, and you don't realize they're actually centered from the very top of your head, the crown of your head down to your chin. Okay, so after we've divided it up into like a target, we're gonna divide this section up in half with a really light little line here. Okay, and then I'm actually gonna divide this bottom section one more time, really lightly. You'll notice with all these are just guidelines, these are gonna erase. You'll be really mad if you draw a nice drawing and you can't get rid of these. Okay, now this is kind of an interesting fact. When we divide up this eye line, a human head is roughly 5 eyes wide. So we're gonna divide up this space, and I can see mine's kind of off center a little bit. That probably makes you feel better about yours. Okay. So between, if you can just kind of figure this out, there's an eye, the width of an eye. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So however wide you drew your face, you're gonna wanna divide it up into 5 sections, okay? Okay, so this, there is not an eye in the middle, but the space between people's eyes generally is about the width of an eye. So right here, what we're gonna do is draw kind of like a lemon shape or a football, really flat football. Really lightly, we're gonna make some changes just to help you get your features in the right place. Okay. And what we're gonna do next is drop a line straight down from the middle. From this is where the person's tear duct would be, so it's actually going to be like this a little bit. We're going to drop a line straight down from the tear duct, both sides, and that's how wide the nose is going to be. Obviously it's not shaped that way. And then we're going to put in some eyeballs. Let's see. A lot of times what I like to do is just erase this guideline before I start adding any eye details, because I get kind of annoyed if I draw a really beautiful eye and I got a line across the middle of it. So you just empty those out. We know we don't need that guide light anymore. Maybe put a little eyelid. That's one thing I noticed a lot of young artists forget, and they only draw this line and they forget the eyelid lines. That's one reason why eyes look kind of weird. I'll do a whole new lesson on just eyes. For now, this is our quick eye lesson. Another thing is you want to draw the iris partly hidden up behind the top eyelid, so they are not completely exposed, or your person will look very startled. So we've got our iris and our pupil, and it's also usually partially hidden. Some people, it's hidden on the top and the bottom. Once you start looking at a particular face, you can pay attention to these details. It's always going to help too if you leave a little place when you shade in a pupil, leave a little place for a shine. That little tip right there will up your game easy, easy. Okay. So now we've got our eyes. What are we going to do next? Straight down from your pupils, you're going to draw a really light line. And you will notice those are the corners of a person's mouth. Now, I've seen some lessons where they say this is the middle of the mouth where it opens, and some people put this as the bottom. We're just gonna have to, we'll draw it one way, and then when you look in the mirror, you'll see some variations. An easy way to finish off the nose right here is just put a little open U shape. Make it kind of flare off on both ends. And then just put the outside edge of the nostril right where you drop that line down. And don't try putting any other lines. There'll be a little bit of shading, but this simple little, I don't even know what we're gonna call that shape. You guys come up with something. And these little parentheses on both sides is good enough. A lot of times I'll just put like a little shading right here, and that's about it on one side. All right, back to our nose. What were we doing? No, lips. So if you want to choose this to be the opening of a person's mouth, you're going to want to kind of have this dip down in the middle. This is going to be a very big mouth. Make this line dip down in the middle. That's where the mouth opens. This is pretty basic. It's always a little smaller than that top lip. Then right here, this follows that same shape, that little Cupid's bow. And these are just straight down. And the top lip sticks out a little bit past the bottom lip. Oh gosh, I forgot some eyebrows. If you forget eyebrows, you're gonna be thinking this looks really weird. Usually they kind of level and then curve out at the outside edge. And the hair usually just kind of follows that same pattern. It's gonna look very alien without eyebrows. No offense to aliens, or Mona Lisa, we'll stick with that. All right. So straight out from this eye line, we've got put some ears. So this nose line, if you just lightly run this out to the side, and this eye line, some people go with the eyebrow line. It depends on where your ears are. Your ear generally starts here and goes a little higher. We're just gonna pick something super basic shape here. Basically like a hot dog bun ear. It starts at the eye line and ends at the nose line. And another thing that you might not realize is that necks are really fat. They kind of come off the human head right about at this mouth line. If you draw them too skinny, that's one thing that makes your face look like a character, like a cartoon character. Okay? Now you're thinking, what is with all this ginormous head? Well, we've got somewhere between the very top of the head and where the eyes are is where our hairline is. So whether you have bangs or not, even if your hair is pulled back in a ponytail, it usually comes down quite a bit. We'll just make this person, it could be a girl or a boy. So you don't realize there's all that extra head up here, even if your hair is slicked back. And then when you're all finished with, you got the features in the place where you want them, obviously we can add so many more details. We can add that line on the inside here. We can add eyelashes. We can add lots of things, but we want to get the basic features in the right place. Then I can go back and show you guys lots of other little things that make a difference in your drawing, such as when you color in the iris, you want to color in like the spokes on a bike wheel. And you don't want to color the whole thing even. You want to leave little gaps when you color those in. You also want to maybe just put eyelashes out here on the edge, girls and boys. A few out on the edge. They always point away from the nose. They're always going outward. When you run into that problem where you're trying to get eyelashes along the whole entire eye, it definitely gets a little more complicated. So then at this point, I could just go back and erase all of these guidelines. They're super light. And it helps me get all of these facial features symmetrical and roughly in the right place, so your face looks like a human, which might be your goal in drawing. Get everything where you want it, and you can go back and shade to your heart's content and add your details. There you go. I recommend you just put like a little barely there line for the nose and call it a day. Ta-da!